My next guest is an amazing real estate investor, just under 20 properties in 3 states. She is bilingual. I like to call her trilingual because she speaks English, Spanish, and finance. Give it up for my friend, Maria Acosta.
And actually, one of the things too, like I like to play dumb sometimes just because I
Yeah.
want to see how people are really going to act. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Introduce yourself to everybody.
yeah, definitely. So my name's Maria Acosta. I'm a full-time real estate investor here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, doing primarily fix and flips, doing some rentals here in DFW, out of state as well. And yeah, no, excited to
You're
be
doing
here.
big things.
I'm trying to get on Tony's
I
level.
don't know about that. I'm I'm okay. It's been a lot of rumors and allegations out here that I'm doing good, but I wouldn't listen to any of that. But
Man.
um, don't you have a alias you go by like Lady Real Estate or something like
Oh,
that?
okay, yeah, Lady Hustle.
Lady
Yeah,
Hustle. Okay.
yeah.
So I'm gonna be the chocolate broker. My
It's
friend,
catchy. It
yeah.
definitely is.
I had my friend on here and I was like, yeah, bro, so I'm gonna change my name to the chocolate broker. He was like, what's that? He's like, what's that? Something sexual or something? It was like, nah, man. I was like, nah, like broker, real estate, the chocolate broker.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely attract the ladies for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I
and the
appreciate
ladies are
that.
very supportive.
I appreciate
Not
that.
trying to say
Yeah.
the dudes aren't, but ladies are
Yeah.
usually very
Yeah.
supportive.
I think the name is not, it's not like sexy chocolate where dudes won't want
Yeah,
to follow you. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like that type of thing. But I'm just gonna do a recap.
yeah, definitely.
2014, you got
Hmm.
into real estate. You did your first flip and you bought that property for $95,000 and then put 30,000
Yeah,
into it.
30-ish around there.
And
Yep.
then yeah, and able to flip it and made a good profit, about 15,000 net
Yeah,
profit.
very first one.
Your
Yep.
very first one.
Hmm.
And that's 10 years ago. It's like an
Yeah.
anniversary
Yeah,
type situation.
actually, yeah, February 20, so in 2015 is when I actually bought it. I did that course at the end of 2014, bought the first flip February 2015.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And through that course, I guess
Mhm.
even though using that money, that course was very expensive, $30,000.
Mhm.
Like through that course, you learned the power of balance transfers.
Mhm.
Have you ever utilized that since?
Oh, I
Like
do
that?
that all the time.
Yeah.
Like Tony, so
It's a
much.
cheat
Oh
code, right?
man.
That's a cheat
Guys,
code.
if you are not leveraging these credit cards, oh man, you definitely need to. So I have several credit cards and I just transfer,
Hmm.
balances and stuff like that. Cause the thing is, and you have to be very careful too, because obviously
Yes.
do not use this for personal spending and stuff like that. This is, strictly for business. So this
Yes.
is how I've been able to do, multiple deals because I do raise money from private lenders that fund my deals, but
Uh-huh.
Tony, sometimes you get in a bind where it's like,
You're
man, I
short.
need this money like by next week. So it's like you have to use some of your own funds sometimes. So yeah, I definitely tap into those credit cards.
They will have that money in your account the next day.
Yeah.
Like it will be in there.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. But
Hmm.
for those who don't know, using credit cards, sometimes they have balance transfers
Hmm.
where you can transfer money from your credit card, whether it be Citibank, American Express, Discover. I don't know who you use, but they'll have different deals where it's like, hey, 12 months, zero interest, but you have to pay 3%
Hmm.
of the total amount that you're borrowing, and then you can just pay that money back. Now if you don't pay it back within that time frame, it gets a little pricey, like what, 21%
Yeah. It goes
sometimes.
into the
So
20s.
you definitely
Yes.
have to be smart about it, but
Hmm.
that is a cheat code for beginners,
Yep.
investors, and seasoned ones too. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that helped me, Tony, is that it has shown on my credit report that I've had credit history since 96. And that's because
Yeah.
my dad added me to his credit card when I was younger. So that has also helped me. So if your parents are cool with it, your parents have, pretty good credit, tell them to add you, as an authorized user because that'll help boost, your credit score and,
Yeah.
you guys can apply for more cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of friends and family that I've added to my credit card just as an authorized user, and I never gave them the card. Like, I don't
Mhm.
want you to spend any money,
Yeah.
but because I'm responsible with my money, that will reflect kindly on your credit score.
Mhm.
So it's definitely helped a lot of people. My nephew called me the other day. He was like, "Hey, my credit score is 750." I was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Yeah, I'm the man." He was like, "You know why, right?" He didn't even know why. I was like, "You know why, right?" Like, I added you to my credit card when you was like 15 years old. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's gonna help
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure. So you being in the industry I wanted to get into this
Mhm. Mhm.
as a female of color. Do you
Mhm.
feel like that real estate is a man's world and you're like pushing these men out the way, like, yo, get out the way. It's time for Maria. Or like what what is that dynamic like for you?
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and it's interesting because I feel like I've always kind of been in a position like that, just because, growing up, for example, around my block, I was one of the only girls, and all the guys were always playing basketball. So it was me and one of my other friends, and her and I were always playing basketball with the guys.
Yeah,
So it started off, when I was younger, and then working at Fidelity, especially in financial services, it is definitely a male dominated industry for sure. You go to sales meetings, and it's like you look around, you're one of the only real females in the room, and also two minority females, at
yeah,
that. So yeah, so with real estate, for sure. The great thing is that, you can always ask for help. And I feel like for the most part, everyone's always really helpful, very
yeah,
welcoming. But heck yeah, it's definitely one of those industries where, you can't be afraid. Like speak up, and keep doing your thing. So
absolutely.
yeah.
So you feel like you have to be more assertive because you're a female?
Yeah, only because sometimes, for example, when you go to job sites and contractors come out, like
Mhm.
especially in the very beginning, if you're because sometimes I bring like a guy friend with me just because I don't want to meet someone, by
Yeah,
myself or something like
and
that.
they start talking to him? Huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So little things like that, but it's like once you understand the lingo and
Mhm.
kind of what to say, they then recognize, oh, okay, she knows what she's talking
Yeah.
about.
And not only she knows, like, she know a lot.
Yeah.
Let me buck up. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That's what's up. I think that's a common tactic, especially if you're dealing with a scammer contractor, is to
Mhm.
just assume everybody's an idiot because it's
Mhm.
only going to benefit them. Because if they're smart, then they just won't do the deal.
Mhm.
But if they do run into an idiot, they're like, "Cool, I got over on it." That's where you get the, "Hey, let me get 50% up front"
Mhm.
type stuff. Trust me, that all that good stuff. So
Yeah. And actually, one of the things too, like I like to play dumb sometimes just because I
yeah,
want to see how people are really going to act. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like if they're going to try and take advantage because people always show themselves and, show who they are.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So it sounds like being a woman of color is more of an advantage.
Yeah, no, for sure. And because I speak Spanish, so I'm from the Dominican
You
Republic.
speak Spanish?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
say something.
yeah. Yo hablo español. Yo nací en la República Dominicana. So,
Okay, okay.
sí.
Yo hablo poquito español, pero yo necesito más práctica.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She
Tú,
didn't
tú
know that.
sabes,
See,
tú sabes
she
mucho.
didn't know that. She didn't know that. But yeah, that's what's up. That's good. So and so you can also speak to I'm sure you've done this, been just driving around and you saw contractors working
Oh,
and just hop
yeah.
out the car and then just start spitting at them like,
Mhm.
hey, I need this done. I see you doing drywall. Can I walk around?
Mhm.
The type you've done that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the crews that I usually run into, different guys, a lot of them speak Spanish, they're from other countries. So it helps me a ton just because they're a lot more comfortable speaking to me. And
Uh-huh.
also I just try and negotiate. I always negotiate.
Uh-huh.
And so it helps me get better prices,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So you get an assisted discount and assisted discount. You just all around. That's
Oh
man.
yeah. You
You
got to leverage, all of your resources. Like
absolutely.
that's the one thing you can never like there's not a lack of resources out there. You just have to be resourceful. So it's like,
Hmm.
use whatever you can to your advantage. So if you speak Spanish,
Hmm.
use that.
Yes.
If you're a female, like, oh, I don't know, how does this work?
Yeah. Can you do this for me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I wish I would say that. Oh man. That's what's up. Okay. So I want to keep it on real estate, but at the same time, I kind of want to talk about love just a little bit.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
You being like you are well accomplished. I don't know if you want to say how many properties you have and all that good stuff on here. But I'm sure that anybody that you're involved with,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be somewhat abreast of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, do you feel like that's been intimidating to some guys?
Oh, Tony, 100%.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
So as I mentioned earlier, I do have rental properties and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I fix and flip. So I have just under 20 properties
Oh,
that
wow.
I own spread through Texas, Ohio, Michigan. So I do invest, a little bit out of state and everything like
Mhm.
that.
Which brings me to my next topic, which will be long distance landlording.
Okay. Yeah,
But
definitely. But yeah, I think, it definitely intimidates some people,
uh-huh.
for sure. Other people, really don't care. And I guess it's, maybe how you carry yourself or your mindset. Because some people, again, it's like, all right, you're just a regular person. And so, but
Right.
yeah, for the most part, though, a lot of times from what I've seen, it definitely intimidates people a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like people might be wanting to pursue you for the wrong reasons because you're successful?
Interesting. I haven't really gotten that vibe a lot
Hmm.
from people. If anything, like, I don't know, it's really weird because I feel like sometimes people are afraid to talk to me, and I have guy friends that I'm really cool with, and they are very candid with me, and we have conversations like this, and some of them have told me, like, "Maria, the reason you're probably still single right now is 'cause people are afraid of you." Like, they're afraid to talk to you, and it's like, man, and that kinda just tells me that, maybe I'm just not hanging out in the right circles because,
Yeah,
Tony, like, I wanna be surrounded by people where what I'm doing, it's like, "Alright, girl, you doing your thing, like,
yeah,
next." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a big thing.
yeah,
So, it's kinda just showing me that I maybe need to level up and kind of maybe change the different areas that I'm hanging out in. So one of the things that I'm trying to do is maybe go to golf clubs or
yeah.
different places like that where it's like everyone's doing
I see what you
something
mean.
and
Level
you're on
up
the
to where,
same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think just as a human being in and of itself, I think your confidence level is higher than most humans
Mhm.
in general. So I feel like if a guy's trying to approach you, if his confidence isn't like even of normal, because a lot of people have low confidence
Mhm.
anyway. So if they have low level confidence and they're approaching this, super level of confidence,
Mhm.
that's gonna sting regardless of what industry you're in
Yeah.
anyway. So I get what you mean by leveling up to somewhere where their confidence is at or just as high as yours.
Mhm.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I don't know. We'll see. And that's why I'm trying to do bigger things too. Like for
Yeah.
example, I've been doing fix and flips for a while, but I want to see if maybe I can do new builds or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start getting introduced to people that do development and it's like, oh girl, you're cute with your,
Yeah.
fix and flips. Like
Yeah,
come hang out.
I definitely have been stopped lately. I've been stopping by places where I've seen people working on new construction,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of opportunities in Dallas. I mean, it's almost like you have to go where the best deal is.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, it's been like really, really ugly houses or beat up houses or burnt down houses,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case is. But now I'm seeing like, okay, well, if you can get the right people, like you can just buy this land because I already know what it takes to build a house as far as the material costs,
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get the right people to just do the work for you and you in scale, that can be a game changer,
Oh yeah, for
you
sure. I
know.
know. I saw that
Yeah,
build that you had. I
yeah.
even checked it out. That
Oh
was
yeah.
pretty
It
cool.
was, yeah, because that was, in my opinion, it was like, for those who don't know, I had a burnt down house that I did. It was completely torn down, and me and my Hispanic brother Steve, we basically built that thing up from the ground up. So it was just us for the most part, unless it
Mm-hmm.
was something like something extensive. We did need permits for certain things, so I had to
Mm-hmm.
get a licensed plumber
Okay.
to be there. But I did all the work, all the
Mm-hmm.
PEX plumbing and stuff like that.
Wow.
I learned so much about everything and actually doing all the work. It's just like, I don't know. My confidence is like yours in a sense where I feel like I can do anything. I
Mm-hmm.
just, are you going to?
Yeah.
Can
I know.
you
I'm about to hire you for
just?
my next
Oh man,
new
I'm
build.
not. I'm not hireable. Like I've done all this work, and people keep asking me to do work, and I'm like, I don't want to do work.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it for myself, but I've just happened to be. Just because you're good at it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean you want to pursue a career in it.
Yeah.
I want to pursue a career in professional laziness where no, I really do like working though, but I
Mm-hmm.
just like working for me. Like I don't like the pressure of pleasing other people, like doing something to somebody else's spec.
Mm-hmm.
If I mess up, I know it's me. I did it. It's on me
Yeah.
100%. I'll correct it when I'm ready to correct it or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case is. Like I can't be the whole goal of this whole real estate thing for me is to not work for anyone.
Yeah.
So the idea of doing contract work for people, it just kind of turns my stomach. My friend's doing a kitchen remodel, and I
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I'll help you, because he asked me like, "Hey, will you do this? I'll pay you whatever." Blah blah blah. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "No, I'll help you
Mm-hmm.
do it, but I don't want. We not. That's not the type of relationship we're gonna do."
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So that's where I am.
okay.
Back to you.
Yeah.
With the long distance landlording,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so interested in that because I'm a proponent. I tell people like long distance landlording is not what's up, especially when you're a
Mm-hmm.
new investor. Obviously, you're a seasoned investor, so
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, how is it working for you? How did you get into that,
Yeah.
and how were you able to perfect it?
So interesting story. When I went to that course and I flew out to Vegas and everything like that.
Uh-huh.
So one thing I didn't mention earlier is that on top of the 40K that I invested, so at the program, Tony, they had a company there that was selling turnkey, quote unquote, turnkey properties to
Uh-huh.
investors. And guys, turnkey properties essentially, literally, you turn the key, this thing is rent ready, ready to go.
Yeah.
Everything's been remodeled, or at least that's what your expectation is, right?
Right.
So there was a property or a company there selling turnkey properties to students, and they also had another company there that could fund the project for you, the
Yeah.
purchase. So literally everything in house, right there at the workshop that we went to. So again, Tony, I had three credit cards, $30,000 each. I was like, you know what? I want to buy something. So I
So you
sat
had paid those credit cards off by then.
no, so this is at that same conference.
Oh, okay,
So
got
I
you.
had just paid, the money to go to the conference. I paid like the 30K at the
Mhm,
conference. I bought this additional deal where basically they will set up unlimited LLCs for you. So I paid $10,000 for that. So that was where the 40K came from. So on top of that, I then sat down with one of the consultants from the turnkey company, and at the time they were buying properties in Michigan.
mhm,
And so I did not know very much about comparables, what these houses were selling for or anything like that.
mhm.
But I tried to ask, a couple questions just to, try and learn a little bit. And I started thinking, like, okay, Maria, see if they maybe have some multifamilies, maybe like a duplex or a triplex or something like that. So that way, if for whatever reason you don't have a tenant, in one of the units, if your other unit has tenants, then at least that can pay, your mortgage.
Right.
And so they did have a duplex available. So this was in Warren, Michigan, right? I had no idea where the heck that was.
Mhm.
Um, but Warren, Michigan. And so I sat down with the consultant. Again, they had the hard money lender there. So I needed to bring $25,000 to the table. So again, I have those credit cards, right?
Right.
So I used one of my other credit cards and I put $25,000 down, sight unseen, for a
Wow.
duplex in Warren, Michigan. And they funded it for me, right then and there. So ended up closing, I think like a month and change later. Again, have never seen this thing, but they told me that it had tenants in there. Tenants were paying. There was a property management company in place that was collecting the rents. I was like, okay, awesome. I'm going to be cash flowing day one. Basically, one of the units will pay for the mortgage, and the other unit, I'll be cash flowing. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what ended up happening was I started getting, some money initially. I think it was maybe for like the first month, maybe 2 months at the very most. But then I noticed that there were no payments coming in. And so I reached out to the property management company. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, the tenants, are moving out, they're not paying rent anymore. And I was like, well, did you guys at least collect a security deposit from them? Typically, property management companies, just
They
like everyone
should.
else, collect
Yeah.
security deposit. And they told me that they did not collect a security deposit. I was like, how is that possible? So I was frustrated with them, Tony. And so
Mhm.
I just went to Google and I started looking up property managers in the area because I needed to get rid of these guys.
Right.
Um, so I called several different people, and actually I went to Bigger Pockets to look up questions that I should ask property managers because
Yeah.
I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was like, what do I even ask these people? So I
Absolutely.
got questions from Bigger Pockets, interviewed a couple people. One of the guys, I was like, okay, he seems, like he knows what he's doing. I kind of like his vibe. So
Mhm.
I switched over to that particular company,
Mhm.
and I had never again flown out there to see this property. And so I had owned the property for a couple months at this point. I was like, you know what? I have to fly out there and like see what the heck it is that I'm running across,
Mhm.
because my property manager was telling me, Maria, these units like are gonna need to be remodeled. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like
It's supposed to be
this,
turnkey.
yeah, it's supposed to be turnkey. So Tony, I fly out there and the units are trashed. The only thing that's new are like the windows. Like the units were
Oh
so
my
messed up.
God. Yeah.
But also too, I needed to get the units ready and I needed to get the city to come, do an inspection and everything. Well, the city of Warren came out and they said that it was the worst roach infestation that they had ever seen. So, on top of having to remodel the units, I also had to hire Orkin for a year to spray on both sides so I can get rid of these roaches. So, and that was actually my very first purchase. So, I did my first flip, like I said, in February 2015. But again, I
Mm.
bought that property while I was at the actual course in October, November 2014. So,
So
that was my first
you already
purchase.
out 40,000 for the course, then
Yes.
another 25 for
Another
this property
25,000 for the
before you
property.
even did the flip. So you
Yes.
saw failure before you saw
Yeah.
successes. Okay. What kept your head in the game though? Like what kept you wanting to keep going?
Oh man. I mean,
Because a lot of people would have just been like, all right, I'm throwing my hands up. This is it.
yeah, it's
That's crazy.
crazy. Yeah. I think my thing is like, I don't know, my parents, I've always seen like their hard work, dedication, tenacity, like just never giving up. Like, I think about all the sacrifices they made because
Uh-huh.
we came to the States like when I was young. I was like 4 years old.
Hmm.
My parents were in their mid 20s.
Right.
Like, two kids in the States, did not know English, working at like factories, McDonald's, and different things like that. And I'm like, man, if my parents, made all these sacrifices for us to get here, I know I could work my way through whatever
Right.
it is that I need to do. So, I mean, I just had to buckle down and get stuff done. So I'm trying to remember if I had borrowed funds or if I had some money saved up at that point. Or actually, I
Right.
think what I may have done, Tony, is that I leveraged the other card that I had to pay, for the renovations and stuff like that for the units.
Wow.
So I got the units renovated.
Mm,
The property manager got tenants in there, so I started cash flowing again and everything like that. And this is where finance comes into play. So I loved finance in college, and I got a 3-year hard money loan for that property that I purchased. So again, hard
mhm.
money. They let me borrow the money that I needed, and I'm paying interest only payments. This
Right.
is for 3 years.
Hmm.
So again, being the numbers person that I am, Tony, I was running the numbers like, okay, cool. Am I going to have this property paid off by the end of the 3 years? Because I was making additional payments, to tackle the principal and stuff
And
like
how
that.
much was this property?
So I ended up buying the property. I think it was for like 72, 75,000.
Okay.
Yep.
And so the 25,000 was just a down payment on
Yeah.
the 70. Okay,
Yep,
got you.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so again, I'm making these payments and stuff like that. And I realized, Tony, that by the end of year two, I was not going to have enough money to pay the property off. And so I reached out to the lender and I was like, hey, can I get an extension? And because I had been current on all my payments and stuff like that, they granted me an extension. I don't know if it was for like another 6 months or another year or something like that.
Hmm.
And again, I'm working at Fidelity at the time. At this point, I think I'm making like six figures or something like that.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up getting another job. So my brother had actually been listening to Dave Ramsey because he and his wife were going through their debt-free journey. They both got second and third jobs trying to pay
Uh-huh.
off student loan debt and stuff like that. And so that kind of motivated me. And I was like, you know what, Maria, you're going to need to get another job to pay this property off. So I actually ended up getting a job at Amazon, working at their warehouse in Fort Worth, like scanning packages, putting packages
Wow.
away and stuff like that. So I got the
Nights
job.
and weekends.
Yeah.
So you six figure working at Fidelity,
Yeah.
wearing women business suits,
Mm-hmm.
and then leaving there, putting on your Amazon stuff and going to the warehouse.
Literally. So I'd leave work at 5 o'clock and my shift was 6 to 10 at
Mhm.
Amazon Tuesdays through like Saturday and stuff like that. But because I wanted to make more
Mhm.
money, I would leave Fidelity sometimes as early as I could and I'd stay at Amazon sometimes until midnight,
Wow.
if not later. And also I'd come in sometimes on the days that I was off, only because after a while, like they saw that there was more to me than just someone scanning packages. I
Hmm.
actually went over to the manager's desk and I started doing some of the managers roles with, at the end of the night, making sure that all the packages were marked delivered or not delivered, kind of clearing everything out for the night. I learned how to do all that.
Wow.
But yeah, so I ended up working at Amazon for like a year and a half. And it was really crazy, Tony, just because I think I I don't know if it was in 2018 or 2019 or something like that,
Hmm.
but I had to pay off the property by like November of that year. And so I'm hustling, hustling. I think at the beginning of the year I still had, I forget how much it was I needed to pay, but working my butt off at, Fidelity and Amazon. And actually, one of the things I forgot to mention is that on the nights that I wasn't working at Amazon, I was actually driving Uber and Lyft as well. So in the very beginning, they didn't have me
Wow.
working, all the nights. And so I took it upon myself to.
I think what you forgot to mention is that you don't sleep. You're actually a robot because that is crazy. That's
Yeah.
that's just that's wild. When did you? I mean, did you get? I guess you got some sleep. You got
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I would, it's just again, I was off at least 3 days for Amazon, so I
hmm,
just made sure that I used that time to do
yeah,
Uber and Lyft. And it's one of those things where it's like when you become so focused and you want something so bad,
hmm,
like nothing is gonna deter you from it. And
right,
to me, Tony, I saw it as like, Maria, you put down $25,000 on this property. You've been paying all this interest every single month since you bought this thing. Like you're not gonna lose this property.
right,
So I was doing everything that I could to make sure
hmm,
that I achieved that goal. And when you're very focused and you're very intentional, sometimes, the universe just kind of starts throwing things your way. And so
absolutely,
what ended up happening that year that I needed to have the property paid off, again, this is like February, March timeframe. My
hmm.
boss at Fidelity had told me, Maria, HR actually noticed that you had been getting underpaid for some of your bonuses or whatever.
Oh
And I was
wow,
like, oh, okay. And he was telling me, yeah, you should see, the small reflection or whatever it is on your next check. I was like, okay, cool. So Tony, I was thinking, okay, maybe $1,000, $2,000, nothing crazy. Tony, I ended up getting a check for like $22,000 for my next check at work. And that was actually more than what I needed to pay off the property in Michigan. So
wow,
I was able to pay it off in like March of that year as opposed to November. And it was like the craziest thing ever. I
yeah,
was so like I was beyond words. Like I couldn't believe it, but
yeah.
all the
That's
hard
wow,
work and everything
absolutely,
paid off. Yeah.
yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a crazy story.
Yeah, so I paid off the property, I think it was like 2018, 2019, and I still own it now, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's still cash flowing.
No
But
roaches?
no, thank
Okay, got
goodness.
the roaches out. Okay. That's crazy.
No
So
more
there's a
roaches.
lot of lessons to be learned, even in that story in and of itself. Like you should definitely, me personally, like you need to put eyes on property, you need property before you purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, and also vet your property management companies. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to vet them. And I manage all my properties myself for
Mm-hmm.
now. But did you have to sign a contract with your property management company?
Yeah, they have you sign an agreement. Yeah, just so
Okay.
you know exactly what it is that you're
Mm,
getting, how much they're charging you, and stuff like
right.
that. So.
Because I know some of them don't, they won't release you out of it. Like you still obligated to them. Like you can't necessarily switch, but obviously with yours, you're able to switch and get a better one.
Mm-hmm.
So you still use that one to this day?
Yeah, I've had the
Okay.
same property, and I'll fly out there every so often. So my
Mm-hmm.
property manager's name's Tony, also, which is kind of funny.
Tony, good
So,
one. Tony's a good. Yeah.
so I'll fly out there like just randomly sometimes, and like he'll take me out to lunch and stuff like that. And they
Yeah.
have a nice casino downtown, so I'll like go to the casino and hang out for a little
Hmm.
bit. But yeah, it's only every so often. But
That's what's up.
yeah.
That's good. Have you done any? Well, actually, let's just move on to the next. You have any other properties in Michigan? Or are you moving on?
So after that property, Tony, that was like I had enough. You know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
like, eh. But I discovered other markets that were just as inexpensive, but the rents were a little bit higher. That was the one
Hmm.
thing, I guess, maybe where I bought. Like one, when you buy in areas like that, your homes don't really appreciate in terms
Hmm.
of the value. A lot of
Right.
times when people are investing out of state in areas like that, where again it's less expensive, it's maybe because the rents are a little bit higher. But I noticed that where I was in Michigan, the
Mhm.
rents weren't crazy high. So honestly, that's why I didn't want to keep reinvesting. But there are deals out there. I just, again, after having that experience, I'm like, let me,
Yeah.
maybe look elsewhere. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I started looking at Ohio. So
Hmm.
that's one of the other places that I invest in.
And what is the average property for what's what we would consider a good deal
Hmm.
in Ohio right now?
So actually, I mean, one of the properties, and again, all the properties that I purchased need work. So that's why
Hmm.
I'm able to get them for the prices that I
Yeah.
do. So
Sure.
the most recent that I purchased, I bought it for 43,000.
Hmm.
I put into it maybe like 55,000.
Hmm.
It actually appraised for 145 here recently. And I think we rented it out because we had turnover here recently, but we're trying to get people in for 1,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're almost at 1% of the value. Actually, you're above it. You're above
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
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 Okay. That's what's
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
exactly. So
I,
you can find deals like that all the time, but again, you have to look because I that was a motivated seller that I talked to, so that's why.
Absolutely. That's what I would consider a good deal.
Yeah.
And are you in your financing those as well?
So you said financing
The
the
properties.
so that particular property, I actually used a private lender.
Okay.
They funded the entire thing for me. So
Ooh.
now that I've been
So
doing
so let's
this,
talk about
yeah.
what's a private lender?
So private money lender, and again, Tony, you could be a private money lender, but private money lender is essentially friend, family member, associate, coworker, just anyone that you have a personal relationship with,
Hmm.
that wants to put their money to work. And again, being a private lender, you're the one that can set the terms with your private lender. Like, hey, this is how much I am paying for this particular project on an
Yeah.
annualized basis. Points, if there are any points, and again, that's just a certain percentage of what they're letting you borrow. And then also you can dictate, hey, I make payments at the end of the project when we sell, refinance, whatever it is, as opposed to hard money. They're the ones that are setting the terms and everything like that.
Yeah. So it sounds like the terms are more in your favor and you're getting a better rate
Yep,
for the most part.
exactly. Yes.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm always looking for private lenders. So if you guys know of anyone looking to invest, let me
Okay.
know. Little plug.
Yeah. So if you want to make some money with Lady Hustle,
Hmm.
right? And tell everybody your Instagram just in case.
Yep. So it's lady_hustle 23.
Lady_hustle 23.
Hmm.
And that's going to be on all platforms.
So that's on Instagram, on Facebook, Maria Acosta. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Does that also apply for the guys with a little confidence that might want to slide in your DMs? You know what I mean?
Hopefully you have a little bit more confidence, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Have some going
yes.
on for yourself. I mean, I don't
Be
know.
confident,
Yeah, be
yeah.
confident. What are some other things you look for in a guy?
I mean, ambition, I feel like I'm very ambitious, so it's like
Hmm.
you gotta keep up
Yeah.
with that. But yeah, no, I like to travel. Like I'm in this phase where it's like I just want to
Yeah.
enjoy life. I like to travel, so hopefully that's something that the other person enjoys too. I like to stay fit. I'm very competitive, so
Okay.
I definitely want that to be something I share,
Yeah.
with someone else.
Maria works out. She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And just family oriented. I'm very tight with my family. Like, I'm from the Dominican Republic. We have a big family, so someone that's like, open to that and just tight, with their family. 'Cause I think it's fun when we all get together.
Mhm.
So I do like that.
I feel like everybody does, but do you feel like you have any physical requirements? Are you pretty much open? Just can't be shorter than you, same height.
Yeah, I mean, taller than me would be ideal, because the ladies like to wear their heels every once in a while and they want to,
How
feel
tall
like
are you?
5'6".
Okay, so be taller than 5'6".
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, as long as you're taking care of yourself, because again, I like to play sports and have an active lifestyle. So, and
Right.
also too, who doesn't like to look good when they're
Yeah.
going out? So, not anything crazy, but again, if you're working out and at least hitting the gym a couple times a week, like you should be
Would
okay.
you say they need to know something about real estate?
It's not a requirement, but it would be nice because
Okay.
since it's a big part of my life, and I think
Yeah.
of anyone else, if there's something that's like huge in your life, you want maybe that person to take an interest
Mhm.
in a little bit of what you're doing. So it'd be nice. It'd make the conversations, pretty interesting.
A
So
little easier
yeah,
at night. Absolutely.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Cuddling, talking about numbers.
I know, right? Finding deals,
So
babe.
what
I
was
gotta
that
call the
ROI,
seller.
baby? All right, no, but I appreciate you for coming on the Chocolate Broker.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. We got to do it again too when this gets more popular, and it
Hmm.
will. And
Oh, for
have
sure.
you on again for sure.
Oh, I'm
'Cause it's
game.
so much to talk about, and you have so many crazy stories, and we haven't even really even entered the crust
Oh
of.
yeah, this is just a tip.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you for
Yeah,
sure.
thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.